Sparking Change for Harmonious Living is a TV show that inspires action. It motivates you to start a journey towards a more balanced, fulfilling life. This show explores well-being through spirituality, mental clarity, and physical health. It covers topics like mindfulness, nutrition, fitness, and spirituality, giving you practical advice to enhance your life. Tune in for a transformative adventure that ignites the change you seek.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change for Harmonious Living. I am your host, Giovanna Tartarone.
And I'm your co-host, Ahmed Bahman.
Well, today's show is going to be super exciting because we're going to talk about the universal law of cause and effect, and some of you know it as karma. But this law has opened my eyes to understand how the universe really works. So I'm going to start with just asking you, Ahmed, why is it so important to understand this law?
Well, there are God's laws that cannot be bent or broken, and it's just the way that God decided to create this universe. Now, if we are in harmony with these laws, then everything will start to flow naturally in abundance the way it should. But if we transgress these laws, or if we misuse them, even due to ignorance,
Yes.
it does have its counter effect on whatever you wish to receive as a blessing. You'll find it, why is it not happening? Well, we have the law of cause and effect, and we have the karmic law, and they're usually intertwined with each other. Now, where is the cause? The cause is in your entire being. So it starts with your mind, your thinking, your intention, how you feel, and the deeds that you do.
So is it similar to, I know people know what goes around comes around, or there's Newton's law that says, the third law that says for every action, there is a reaction, right?
An equal and opposite reaction.
So let's talk about that, because everything we do creates an effect.
Yes. And if I would, for example, have a headache, right? And I don't know why this headache is there. A very good example would be our late mentor, Bob Proctor. His story goes that he was at the airport and he wanted to travel, and he had this huge headache that just seems wouldn't go away, and he's had that for quite a long time. And he started with one painkiller, and he increased the dosage because one painkiller wasn't enough over time. His body's tolerance leveled up. He started having 2, 3, 4. He was, till in the end, he was having probably a whole box of tablets just to ease off the pain. Now, you see, when we go for any medication to ease off a symptom, there's something that's been manifested, right? Well, this is an effect. So you're trying just to work to neutralize the effect. But you see, the headache didn't just show up there for no reason. So he was standing and he was about to pass out, and somebody noticed him and he says, "Are you all right?" He says, "Yeah, I think I'm fine, but I was about to pass out." And he said, "What's wrong?" He says, "I don't know. I've just had this huge headache that just wouldn't seem to go away." And then he said, "But I have a flight to catch." He said, "Leave that flight. You can catch the next one. But as long as, first thing, let's see what's going on here." And then this man asked him immediately, because apparently the guy that interacted with him was somebody who understood the laws and how the mind works. And he said, "Have you forgiven?" Now, isn't it interesting that due to lack of forgiveness, if you harbor a lot of resentment and anger, or have a certain amount of, let's say, guilt or any shape or form about yourself, how can a cause such as a single thoughts and emotions manifest as an effect in the body?
Wow.
So the cause was mental and emotional, and the
And the
manifestation
effect was
or
the
the
headache.
with the headache, it was severe pain. We have people, for example, that you find them they're in a constant state of fear, right? Their body starts to diminish. It starts to deteriorate over time because it causes anxiety. Anxiety is not expressed, it's suppressed, and it causes depression. Then they end up having a disease and
Yes.
then disintegration. So,
And that is so true. When someone's feeling unhealthy and their thoughts are just constantly thinking of what they're feeling, and the body will react to that, right?
yes.
And it's the effects. Their body will break down because of the fear. Yeah.
And same thing goes with everything, like not just the body, but the cause again starts with the mind, with your thoughts, and then tuning into the universe with your emotions through the only instrument, which is your body. You will start to resonate with whatever emotions you're putting out there. That's the cause. You're working with the cause. And the effect is not only just the way that you express or suppress your feeling, but it also shows in your character, your personality, behavior as in general, as well as what is it that you attract into your life based on the vibration that you're in the moment.
Absolutely. You know what? Let's give some real life examples, because I love to, bring this out into the real world, right? So let's talk about, let's say you go shopping and you receive an extra $20 because the money are stuck together from the cash register, right? And you walk out of there and you're so happy, and you take that 20, no, this is real, right? You take that $20 and you think you just like strike gold because you got $20 extra. And you know that it doesn't belong to you. But
Yeah.
you go out and you go buy that extra ice cream. So
Yeah.
many things can happen because of that, right? Because
Yes.
you
And
knew, the effects of you taking that extra $20, you can end up losing $40. You can end up
yes.
buying, ice cream and spill it all over yourself because it
Yes.
doesn't belong to you, because the law simply
Law
says what you put out, you get back, right?
get back multiplied. So this is why
Mhm.
we have to be authentic. We have to be honest with who? With
Yeah.
with ourselves. You see,
Ourselves first.
exactly. A person may be able to fool another person, but the person that is fooling another person cannot fool himself that he did not do this act. You see, intention is very clear. He had a choice, but his intention was in the wrong direction. And therefore, the scripture, what does scripture said? He said, based on your intentions, you shall be granted. So, and what am I going to sow? What ye sow, so you shall reap.
I love that. And you know what? There is a perfect movie. In fact, I heard Oprah say it one time, in The Color Purple. Whoopi Goldberg says something like, whatever you think you're going to do unto me has already been done to you. Because perfectly said a minute ago that you said, whatever your intentions are. So if your intentions are truly to hurt someone, you must know that before you hurt that person, you will be hurt.
Yes. And here's
And I said this.
there's another saying. The Arabs, they say that. He said, he who digs a hole for his own brother ends up falling into the pit himself.
I love that. I just want to make this an eye opener for everyone, because yes, we don't talk about the universal laws in school. We don't, we're not taught
Mm.
about that. But when you go into personal development and this is just one of the laws, there's many laws, it becomes truly an eye opener to understand how the laws are there. Just like, if you go If you go and get your license, there's laws on how you can get your license so everything runs smoothly in the operation, right? Of
Yes.
the motor vehicle, let's say the motor vehicle department. Well, there are universal laws so that we can work in harmony, not only with the universe, but with each other. And when we are not in alignment with these laws, the truth be said, ask yourself, what are you doing that is creating some of the problems in our lives?
Yes.
Because all our problems in our lives come from not living harmoniously and not being in alignment with not only our true self, but with the universal laws.
And and here's the thing, when you describe like the mechanics of this whole thing is, with your mind, you have your higher faculties. So any thoughts that you hold, whether it's positive or negative, that's gonna be the cause that you dictate out. It's gonna give you that emotion. You see, we study a lot about these things. I'm sure a lot of people do. But the issue is for those that are not reaping its benefits is because one, they're not applying it correctly, and two, they lack awareness of it.
Yes.
Education and awareness are two different things. You see,
Mm.
education gives you the guidelines, awareness comes by experience. I like what Napoleon Hill stated when he said, an educated person is not a person with a general or specialized knowledge. He said, an educated person is a person who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he can acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of
Violating.
others. What does that mean? It
That
means
is true.
without transgressing the law.
That's so key. I also love the fact if we look at the opposite, where there's people out there that are doing so much for others, and they receive so many great things by surprise, right? They never
Yes.
expected to receive that check in the mail, or they never expected to, you know, uh, become the winner of a raffle. But it's because of their giving and what they're doing for others and the universe, they get rewarded. So, it goes hand in hand again with whatever you put out there, you will receive.
Absolutely.
And mhm,
I like to explain a little bit more about the karmic law. The mainstream people, when they think of karma, they think of it always as a bad consequence only.
right.
But karma doesn't mean as a consequence only. Karma means to take action to produce a desired result as an outcome. Now, that action could start from the intention itself, from the spiritual plane, then you move it to the emotional, then you act upon it as deeds in the physical.
And that's, I just want to stop you right there because we both learned from our mentor, Bob. We function on three different levels, right? It's the spiritual, the emotional, and the physical. If we are functioning more on one of them than the other, there has to be an equal balance for the alignment to be in. But when we're functioning just on the, let's say, physical or just on the emotional, and we're leaving out the spiritual side of it, there's an imbalance. And this is where we begin to have some struggles in life.
As Bob always said, the thoughts, of feelings, and actions must be in sync. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
you're not in alignment. I like to share a little bit more about just a slight definition about karma. It says when we use the word karma, we refer to results engendered by volitional action. Karma, in its very essence, implies the presence of motive. What does that mean? It means that, okay, I'm doing something to help someone out, But if I'm having a bad intention to grab something later, guess what? You're setting yourself up for failure for whatever you're doing. It's going to come back to you. If not from the same source, somebody else will treat you the same. And then you will feel violated. Now, why do you feel violated? Well, because you know for a fact you've wronged someone. Then again, which in turn necessitates the exercise of free choice. You've had that free choice, but you decided not to practice it properly. And therefore, what you sow, so you shall reap. So, karma, it means putting the wheels in motion for whatever it is that you're doing, whatever you're thinking of someone, whatever you're feeling about someone. This is also considered karma, and how you're
Mm-hmm.
treating someone as well. All three planes, it doesn't matter. You're still putting it out there. So there are some companies, let's put it in a different perspective. There are some business owners that like to demolish other businesses. And guess what? Over time, they run out of business. I know like a for example, a pasta sauce company, I think it was called Newman's. They give 90% of their profits out. They tithe 90% of their profits. And you know what? They're still in business today. They never run out of money. Even Bob Proctor had a situation one time in his company where cash was not flowing in very easily. And he went up to whoever was in charge of the finance and checked the books, and he wanted to see if they were tithing, and apparently they were not doing that. Therefore, the inflow of cash was being very seldom. It wasn't coming in very much frequently or in huge amounts. So, and when he spoke to them, and they said, "Yeah, but because of the finances," and he said, "I don't care. Anything that comes in, you're gonna keep 10% aside for me to tithe, and it has to go out regardless." Why did Bob do that? Because he understood the law. If he wanted to receive, he has to give. There are these conditions. Everything has to be, how can I say, keep circulating. Whether it's a kindness, whether it's a smile, whether you're teaching someone something, whether you're giving money, whether you're teaching someone how to be healthy, believe me, whatever you give out will come back to you in order to elevate you in that regard itself. So what happened with him? He said as soon as they started putting their 10% on the side and they started to tithe, money started to flow again. He said, why have the abundance come through a keyhole when you can open the door and let it flow?
Love that. So true. So true. But you have to give first.
You have to give first, and
Right.
always have it in good intention. Always wish
Mm.
others well, regardless of what happens. They do not know what they're doing when they're treating you. What happened with Jesus when they during the crucifixion? What did he say? Forgive them, Father, for they don't know.
But they did not know. And you know that we forget that in the midst of, I know we are, um, most of the time we are reacting and not responding. So
Yes.
because we are reacting, we're not taking time to really think about that the other person may be in a bad position, maybe not feeling well, maybe had something going on at home that, you know, it caused them to not act kind. But if you go ahead and you don't act kind to them, it's only going to come back to you that way as well. So having compassionate for others, um, taking a moment to just think before you react is only going to benefit the individual,
You
yourself.
see, we're all spiritual beings living a temporary physical life, but the key thing here is that when you go into the field, when you go into, let's say, the astral plane, or We're all, souls are connected. We're all connected. So whoever you look in front of you, remember that this is also you. How you treat others is how you treat yourself. How you respect others is how you respect yourself. It all starts with you. If I do good to someone else, I would not do it in exchange for something. I do it because it's an act of service. It's an act of a holy divine service that every human being must participate in. And you do it for no exchange in return. But it's not gonna go, you're not gonna be going empty handed in that, because your intention was pure. And you're doing it, let's say, for the love of God alone. So what happens? God, universe, matrix, or whatever it's meant for you, it understands, it's conscious, it sees what you're doing, and it definitely knows your intention behind it. And therefore, your conditions will change gradually to match whatever it is that you're doing. Therefore, it's usually your habitual mental attitude and behavior in life which dictates what you're going to get in life.
So if you have a poor mental attitude about life, you're going to be attracting things that you don't like, because you're not showing your appreciation for life. I see life as a precious gift, and many of people know why. I cherish life, and I know that what I'm going to put out there is going to be kindness, love, compassionate, empathy, because that's what I want back, number one. And I know that putting out there love is going to just bring me back love, right? And if we can see it that way, that whatever you put out, you're getting back, think about it before you wish bad on someone. Think about it before you start cursing out someone when you get into an argument. Because I do believe, like you said, Ahmed, we're one. We're all connected. We're all connected. The sun shines on everyone. It doesn't discriminate. So therefore, what you do onto someone else, you're doing it onto yourself. And that is one thing that I've learned during my process of, personal development and doing the inner work, to understand that whatever I put out, I'm doing it to me. I'm not doing it to really that person. Although in the physical world, it looks like you're doing it to that person, I promise you, you're doing it onto yourself. And the proof of it is because you don't feel good after you do it. So after you curse someone out, you're the one who's feeling the pain.
Because God has gifted us with another element called conscience. And
Yeah.
and this is basically our inner navigation on
Yeah.
something, that there's a mechanism within each human being that if you do something with pure intentions, you get that uh, content feeling. But if you do something with bad
Yes.
intention, you punish yourself. You see, your conscience uh, does not stop you from doing wrong, but it warns you. And if you don't listen to it, there are repercussions for that. So
Absolutely.
think of it as your best inner friend that is guiding you, right? It will not stop you from doing wrong, but if you do it, it will not let you enjoy it. It's just
Absolutely.
the way that every human being has been built by design. Even kids go through
So
the same mechanism.
mhm. It it's funny you say that, because I do remember, when my son, I mean, as a teacher, being in school and watching kids, fight against each other, and they're very convincing. You can literally have them apologize to each other in a second. Whether they mean it or not is another, story. But they're very quick on feeling what the other person is feeling, right?
Yes.
I want to just take us back how important it is to realize that if there is, if you see a repeating event happening over and over again in your life, ask yourself, what are you doing? Because it all starts with what we do. We are the cause of everything in our lives. We have to take responsibility for everything that happens. I know before I learned what I learned, I was very quick on pointing the fingers. Now I point to myself, and I truly treat life a lot differently.
I I have a call of action before we end this call. And
Yeah, we're
I
almost done,
wanted,
but go ahead.
yeah,
Let's do that.
a call of action is try it for 30 to 40 days every day. Just log down. What has one person done something kind for you? And what have you done something kind to another person? Try that for 40 days. Every day, find someone and try to do something kind to them.
I love that. I love that. So we're going to bring this show to a close. I think we're going to be doing some more universal laws in our coming shows, because I think it's really important for us to know what they are and how we can use them to our advantage, right? So remember, everyone, what you do unto others, you do unto you. And I want you to keep that in mind when you're, being kind to others and when you're not being kind to others, because it truly helps us to live better lives and live more harmoniously when we give out the good thoughts, the good feelings, right? And the good emotions. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we wish you good karma today and
Blessings too.
always. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change for Harmonious Living. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change for Harmonious Living.